When the arbitration process between Cooke and Wheatstone began in 1840, Frederick Kerby was planning his future, for which the proceeds he would receive from his father's estate would prove to be most welcome. The English census of 1841 provides a most interesting insight into the life of Frederick Kerby. John Warner, an executor of Frederick's father's estate, was a neighbor, a machinist, and became Frederick Kerby's father-in-law when Frederick married his daughter Charlott. Frederick Kerby had two sisters and a brother named Henry, the latter who was also a mathematical instrument maker. Because of these various circumstances, a newly wedded wife, with the want of starting a family, young Frederick and Charlotte's eyes turned to a fresh horizon in the New World. Kerbys booked their passage from Liverpool to New York. After first coming to America, Frederick A. Kerby and his wife Charlotte settled briefly in New York City. It was by the fall of 1842 that the Kerbys had left their native country of England, never to return. As Frederick Kerby was the main machinist and the key witness at the Cooke and Wheatstone arbitration proceedings, he had ongoing possession of Cooke's journal. The journal was in Kerby's possession after the arbitration concluded, and thus was never returned to its rightful owner, William Fothergill Cooke. During his stay in New York, there is circumstantial evidence that Frederick Kerby may have decided to show the journal brought with him to some prominent New Yorkers, including those from the cloisters of academia. One such person Kerby may have given that opportunity was possibly Professor S.F.B. Morse, the American telegraph inventor. As previously stated, Kerby was aware of Morse. This was because of Kerby's association with Cooke back in the United Kingdom. Documentation exists that shows a direct relationship between Frederick Kerby and Professor Samuel F. B. Morse of the New York City University. Professor Morse was the celebrated inventor and patent holder of the electric telegraph in America. At the time of F.A. Kerby's death, the New York Times obituary for October 17, 1894, stated that, quote, F.A. Kerby was an electrician at one time associated with Professor Morse, unquote. Professor Morse taught at New York City University. In terms of this documentary, quote, Kerby, unquote, spelled with an, quote, E, unquote, or an, quote, I, unquote, refers to the surname, quote, Kerby, unquote, in all instances. The U.S. trade journal, The Electrician, the same date as the New York Times 1894 obituary, also confirmed this Kerby-Morse association. Strangely, in both obituaries, no mention of Kerby's prior association with Cooke and Wheatstone back in England was ever indicated. Was this a simple journalistic mistake? Or were both obituary statements concerning the Kerby-Morse association, in fact, actually true?
When you press the key, it would open a circuit. Whereas in America, every key that was ever designed used Morse's closed circuit. Especially with this very strange finding in which you found that Kerby, the machinist for Cooke, had left for America with this journal and then had started working for Samuel F. B. Morse. I think that is an extraordinary finding. And the possibility that Kerby may have given Morse maybe entire drawings of telegraph keys, or at the very least ideas from which Morse and Vail could have evolved their telegraph system. So this drawing is just amazingly important. We move on through these pages, and this is the one that really excites me as a historian of telegraphy. This is very, very clearly an open circuit telegraph key, where if you push down this lever, it moves this springy piece up and breaks the connection, the electrical connection between this contact and this contact. And this type of key was what was the basic electrical foundation for every one of the European telegraph keys that followed. Right up into the 1950s, European telegraphy used the open circuit concept, where pressing the key would open the circuit rather than closing it. Morse in America chose the closed circuit or closing circuit arrangement, where pressing the key down closed the circuit. And we see over here the spring that held the lever up, very much like the spring that Morse chose. So for some reason there's a difference here between the philosophies of opening a circuit to activate the telegraph and closing a circuit to activate the telegraph.
you.